Forever. Dog.
Joe, I was home in Atlanta this weekend.
Okay. Back in your stomping grounds.
Back in my stomping grounds, and I was seeing family I hadn't seen in years. This is for my sister's wedding, of course. And they're doing what they're doing. They're giving me the business, They're like, we see all these videos you've been posting.
Like, they've been watching the show?
Oh, yeah, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, these videos, I never understand what you're talking about. They're so weird. Like, what are these videos? And then just give me the business. And usually I would be a little like self-effacing about it, like, I don't know, it's a living or something like that. But I'll tell you what, Joe, I got so much confidence in this thing that you and me and Margot are building.
Okay, I love that.
I looked him in the eye. I was like,
it's called fucking Movies Baby.
It's Movies Baby. I said,
right.
I'm a film critic now.
Oh,
this is what I do.
Yes.
I said, I'm a film critic.
That's beautiful. You just owned it.
Yeah. I said, I'm a film critic.
I own it.
And this is what I do.
Send me the
I
Megalopolis
review movies. I talk about movies.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking film critic.
I love that, baby.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And what did they say?
They said,
please
okay.
excuse me, sir.
All right, well,
so sorry, sir.
I wish you the best.
Can I get you anything, sir?
Can I get you anything, sir? I really showed them.
That's so cool. Well, you are a film critic.
Well, and so are you. Here's to you, sir. Our
Cheers.
new tradition,
Here's
a
to
limoncello
you.
toast to begin Movies Baby. If you're just listening, you can't see. We have some homemade limoncello here.
Brett makes homemade limoncello from the lemons in his California garden.
Sun Valley, baby.
And now I'm going to take a big
Movies
swig
of that.
sip. I love limoncello almost as much as I love the Planet of the Apes franchise, Brett.
This week on Movies Baby, put your stinking paws on me, you damn dirty apes. That's right, we're reviewing the latest installment in the Planet of the Apes franchise, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And we're ranking every single Planet of the Apes movie, all 10 of them, on episode 10 of Movies Baby. Isn't that convenient?
Hey, congrats.
Joe, what do you say? Are you ready?
Born ready.
Oh, Margot, roll that theme song, please. Oh, there it is. I really can't get enough movies.
No, I actually can't. It's a problem.
I can't get enough movies, baby. I can't get enough movies, baby. But how about you? Do you have it bad too? Whenever one ends, it's like the death of a friend. I get to wishing that there were 2 more reels. Then a voice cries out, move, baby, you're in my seat, and you don't want to mess with who the Philly movie freak.
I can't get enough movies, baby.
Sick.
I can't get enough movies, baby. Yes, it's true. Oh, I've got it bad too. Every night of the year, like the moon, I appear at every movie theater all over town.
Every single one.
Cut to black, roll credits.
Whoa,
baby, I'm lost in a fog. I need someone to talk to.
Hi.
Look, it's the Georgia movie dog. Dog, 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 dog.
I can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies, baby.
I can't get enough movies,
I
baby.
can't get enough movies, baby.
Yeah!
Welcome to Movies Baby, the weekly show where we break down the hottest movie news, review the latest releases, shout out forgotten classics, and prophesy the limoncello. Prophesy the future of Hollywood. I'm Joe Cilio, the Philly movie freak, here as always with Brett Boehm, or as you might know him, the Georgia movie dog.
Go Dogs! Joe, we got so many monkey movies to talk about. Oh, ape movies. They don't like being called monkeys. I'm very sorry.
Fair
We've got
enough.
so many ape movies to talk about tonight, but we're going to start with the newest installment before we get to our rankings. I'm talking about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which came out last weekend. Joe and I saw it. We're going to talk about it. Joe, do you mind if I kick us off with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
I can't wait to hear what you think, Brett. Hit me.
Well, I love the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, of course.
And that's why I hated Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
It's not doing anything I love about Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is the 4th installment in this new reboot of the franchise that they've been doing, going on about 10 years now. And it's the 10th film overall. And this one follows Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes, both of which were directed by Matt Reeves, who you know from The Batman and Cloverfield. This one, though, was directed by Wes Ball. They're going in a new direction. And the movie is starting to approach the time period of the original film. I don't know the exact years, but it's starting to at least resemble the world of the original film. Apes have built their own societies in this post-apocalyptic Earth. It's still pretty rural. They're not building like
But it's
major
Bronze Age,
cities. Yeah,
Stones Age.
Bronze
Yeah,
Age.
it's
That's
all
it.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And humans are now living in wild packs in the wilderness and having to sort of steal to survive. And then some of the monkeys are starting to get mean. Sorry, apes. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to check myself. Some of the Caesar's going to come in here and slap the taste out of my mouth.
That'd be so cool. I love Caesar.
I love Caesar. We don't get him in this movie, though. This is post-Caesar. So some of the apes are starting to get mean, and they're hunting the humans for sport. And then the movie itself follows a young chimpanzee named Noah, who just wants to be a falconer or a keeper of the birds. But his village gets burned to the ground by the mean apes, and so he embarks on this journey alongside a human woman named May and a wise orangutan named Raka to reunite with his clan and determine the future of where apes and humans are going, blah, 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 blah. All right, here's what I liked about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to start with the positive. I'm going to sweeten the pot, okay, before I hit him over the head with it. I got to say, I don't think in any of these reboot franchises, which rely heavily on CGI and motion capture, I don't think the CGI and motion capture has ever looked better than in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I thought it was phenomenal. And specifically, because we rewatched all 10 this week.
Yes.
The previous couple, I mean, it's obviously great. It's as good as it could be in the years that these movies came out. But in the previous ones, you can sort of like the blending of the CGI is not always the best against the background. Like you can still, there's moments where you can sort of tell as though it's almost like a slightly, when you see the edge of a green screen around a person. Like there's moments where like you don't see that,
Okay,
but like
that's funny.
The
War
blending, yeah.
for the
Imagine
Planet
that.
of the Apes, like Weta left a little green above Caesar. Yeah.
And look, I know it's as good as it could possibly be at the time, but it just keeps getting better, and this is as good as it's ever been. Like the light and shading on these CGI'd motion capture monkeys, freaking phenomenal.
It's amazing because so Weta,
yes, Weta
the amazing SFX,
Peter Jackson's New Zealand FX company,
yeah, right? It's his Industrial Light and Magic. They did the Reeves pictures, they did Rise, and then of course famously they did the Avatar
Way
stuff.
of Water. They're just coming up. Way of Water was
so
the last one
they did.
Way of
They're
Water.
coming
off Way of Water,
and that's why in this movie you get so much water. We even see wet apes. So they combined the patent of their hair technology that Weta made for War with the water technology they made for Avatar 2, a bad movie.
Yes.
And you're right, Brett. Like sometimes the movie looked incredible, and it's a ton of CGI because it's so much more apes per minute than usual. Usually there's a little bit more humans. This is all apes.
For the first half of the movie, it feels like you're watching a really good cutscene from a video game. There's no human actors.
I know.
But it's also not like animated. So you're like, I guess I'm just watching a computer that somebody left on for a while. Like there's a lot of CGI, a lot of reliance on CGI. Now, but because the CGI is so good, it almost solves the biggest problem that I've had with these recent Planet of the Apes movies, which is that the trademark of the original run and the Tim Burton one, one of the things that made them so good was their reliance on costumes and prosthetics. They didn't over rely on VFX. Instead, they really invested heavily in costumes and prosthetics. First with the legend John Chambers on the original run, and then with Rick Baker, also the legend on the Tim Burton one. And that's what gives the Planet of the Apes its unique dynamic, is that the apes are human actors, and there's a performance element to it, right? And I know with motion capture, we've all seen, circus running around with the ping pong balls on them. There's a performance aspect to that too, but it's not the same. When you literally have like incredible makeup and prosthetics, and then you just get to see the actor, Kim Hunter, perform the role, it just makes it so much more just sort of deep and resonant of a performance than just watching a computer animated ape run around.
Point well taken. I agree, but I have to just shout out, whatever Andy Serkis is doing is different than every other actor in regards to motion capture acting, because in Caesar is basically, I don't know, one of two characters in film history that's a CGI creation that has so much humanity and depth in the animation and in the performance. But Andy Serkis ain't in this one, Brett.
He's not. He's not. And look, for me, as well as it's done in this movie, it's still a bad idea. It's not what I want the future of Hollywood to be, even though that battle has already been fought.
Even
and,
though, yeah,
and
you
won,
did a really good
because
job.
to me, a bad idea
Go
perfectly
backwards.
executed is still a bad idea. And this points to a bigger issue for me, again, with Hollywood, which is this obsession with CGI and motion capture, because it seems to be about upping the stakes on the action, right? It allows you to just do whatever you want. Big galactic battles that we see in all the Marvel movies. You can keep upping the stakes on the action, upping the stakes. And then I think they think that the better the CGI gets, the more realistic the action seems. So you're simultaneously getting more extreme and ambitious, but it's not looking sort of silly or corny or non-realistic. To which I say, A, CGI, even in this movie, has never looked real. It doesn't look fucking real. And two, even if it does get to a point where it's indistinguishable from reality, and the computers are so fucking smart, and I'm so dumb, and I just get to sit there and watch the computers be smart, we're not coming to the movies for fucking realism. That's not like the central drive in coming to movies like this. And I want you to remind Hollywood of 3 simple words that I think they've forgotten. Suspension of disbelief. As an audience, I will accept anything as quote-unquote real if it's presented with vision and conviction and purpose. I accept fucking Marcel the Shell with shoes on as real. I'll accept anything as real, all right? It's not always about, and if you're making Manchester by the Sea, by all means, strive for realism. But in terms of like CGI and effects, this obsession with like, we gotta make the CGI more real, and then we'll hit the singularity, and then we fucking done it, and then we don't need actors anymore, and it can just be computers. That destroys the soul of what I love about cinema. Because to me, the apes in the original Planet of the Apes are 100 times more real than the hyper-detailed, impossibly expensive apes in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because they are interesting and enjoyable as characters. Stop fucking directing movies for the fucking Comic-Con trailer. I'm sick of it. This movie is the epitome of that. You can tell that it was directed for the trailer, and they look, as good as Weta is, it seems like Weta was driving the ship. Like you said, they're literally doing scenes so that they can use the technology they created in Avatar 2 for this movie, right? That's like what's driving the train in some of these scenes. And we say here that we prophesy the future of Hollywood. Right now, I can see all the fucking executives. I can see Zaslav just laughing at my dumbass and saying, "You idiot, that's not how you make money. We know how to make money. This movie's making money, blah, blah, blah." But you're making movies, in this case, about how humanity is on the verge of collapse and how all societies tend towards war and ruin and how eventually everything we've ever made will turn to dust. And you're right. So what the fuck do you care? Can you at least just make good things for us to enjoy in the meantime? Citizen Kane bankrupted RKO. Does that mean they shouldn't have made Citizen Kane? And then on the other side, The Godfather saved Paramount. So make popular art. Take chances. It's fun and you never know what'll happen. But this movie seems cynical to me in its reliance on CGI and on its absolute lack of anything compelling in terms of story or character, any risk in terms of the themes. And that was what I just said was the good part about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
You didn't do the bad part yet?
I haven't even done the bad part yet.
What was bad about it?
Well, the story and the characters and the dialogue.
All right.
Joe, who are these toothless fucking dorks writing all these scripts these days? What is this dialogue in this movie? Oh my gosh. Particularly coming off after 2 great Apes movies made by Matt Reeves, which we mentioned. He had an idea for a third. I really liked the last 2, which we'll talk about when we get to the rankings. And I thought they had teeth, and I thought they preserved a lot of the sort of darker, interesting themes of the original run and the kind of anti-authoritarianism and the sort of nihilism, but also like little glimmers of hope. I really liked the Matt Reeves movies. He had an idea for another one. They didn't let him do it because in 2019, in between this Apes and Kingdom, Walt Disney took over 20th Century Fox, who's been doing the Apes movies since the beginning. And then they announced that they were doing more Apes movies, but then they decided to go a different way with it, and that's how we got Kingdom.
Because now they brought in the Avatar team. Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver were already writing for Reeves, but at 20th Century Fox, they became more in a producer capacity. And this is sort of James Cameron's brain trust to create Avatar 2 through 25, including the writer for this film, whose name I'm blanking on. Please forgive me.
Josh Friedman.
Thank you very much. Josh Friedman, who wrote this movie, is also an Avatar guy, a James Cameron head. And these people make... And Wes Ball works with them in different capacities. He's newer on the scene, the director, but they work together on these big, epic CGI movies. And you're getting a lot of, hey, it's time to we're finished the Caesar arc. Now 20th Century Fox is owned by Disney. We need to brighten this baby up a little bit. We need to go back, reestablish a bunch of characters, and rebuild from the bottom up so we can have a 3 or 4 episode arc about Noah or whatever. But honey, can I tell you something, Brett?
Yes.
A Noah does not a Caesar make. And by the way, Rafa, everyone's liking the new orangutan.
Boring.
Does not a Maurice make.
Boring.
Folks.
Or a Virgil or a take your pick.
And big Kimi the gorilla mean does not a Koba make, folks.
Boring. Not sinister enough. Here's what I think happened. They hired some fucking company, man.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they brought in the Catherine Kennedy, the geniuses, like the cousins of the fuckers that ruined the Star Wars over at Disney are like, hey, it's time to reinvent Planet of the Apes. They made 9 good ones in a row. Let's throw all that away and just focus on the talking monkeys and brighten her up a little bit and create the most basic ass beginnings of our hero's journey and create all this and we'll get it all set up for the franchise. They're doing the thing where they're putting the cart before the horse.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it's so annoying to me. They just made 9 good ones.
Yes.
Why such a you're about to hit on differences about what you didn't like about the movie, and I want you to do that.
I am
but
going to do that.
While I'm right before I get off this point,
please.
The only thing that they took into this Planet of the Apes is the talking apes, but all of the stuff that I loved about the original 9
not here.
Are not here. And it's just, this could have been called a different thing. This is like a whole, this isn't really Planet of the Apes. It's just like apes. This is called Apes.
Yes.
And it's like a new story about a world where there's talking
it.
apes. And it doesn't have any of the social dynamics. It doesn't have any of the class sort of interesting warfare. The most interesting thing always in the Apes movies for me, Brett, is the human versus the apes. Where are we on the status? Where are we on the history thing? And this movie is interested in that almost as like a lark at the end, setting up other films. Really didn't understand at its core what's so special about this franchise.
At its best, the Planet of the
Cookie
Apes
cutter.
is weird and it's like punk. I was amazed how like dark some of these movies get, how anti-authoritarian these movies get. And the franchise has
the cops made a fucking Planet of the Apes.
Thank you.
Right.
The Planet of the Apes has some very clearly defined themes for you to work with, like you're saying. The palette is there. You just paint with the palette. The inhumanity of man, the ravages of time, the police state, the way
integrate or destroy.
That's right. The way all societies eventually bend towards war and cruelty. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And at its best, the Apes movies wrestle with those themes through some really nuanced, interesting, often funny dialogue. But at its worst, like in Kingdom, the dialogue just glides across the top of those themes like a book report that you forgot was due today.
It's Avatar.
This script is bad. And when I got out of the movie theater, I got on my phone. I was so mad. I got on my phone and my face thing wasn't working because I was so mad it didn't even recognize me. So I had to type in my code. And I was like, Joe, I told you this. I was like, I'm going to look up this fucking screenwriter. I'm going to go to his Wikipedia page, and I guarantee his picture is going to be him at a fucking Comic-Con table, smiling and laughing with half a bottle of water on the table. What did I find when I looked up Josh Freeman's Wikipedia page? A freaking guy at a Comic-Con panel with a half a bottle of water, smiling and laughing at something somebody else was saying.
Our nerd overlords.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Our toothless nerd overlords.
You suck.
And the thing is, like, nerds used to like fight the jocks and stuff and used to like be against authority. All the nerds are on the fucking payroll now. These like toothless nerds. I love a nerd. I'm a nerd. But the toothless company nerds, oh my God, fucking save it. This is Planet of the Apes, bitch. You got to come with it. And these guys do not come with it. The one thing that I really hate about the script, it's like sentimental and like humorless, which is not at all the vibe. It's the opposite of the vibe of Planet of the Apes. But 2, it does this like caveman talky thing for the apes, which like really limits the amount you can express in the dialogue. Like it's doing, you know, this like I must impress father, must control birds to impress father, mother. Mother, where is father? Mother, where father, mother? It's doing a lot of like that. And I'm like, we're like basically back to the original movie. Let these, like, in the original movie, Kim Hunter's walking around. She's eloquent, she's funny, she's witty. Dr. Zaius is eloquent and funny and sort of mystical in his way. Just let the apes talk, baby. That's where good dialogue comes from. But he's doing this dumb caveman speak with this sort of sentimentality.
Right, because in Planet of the Apes,
sucks.
They're not quite Stone Age. Maybe they're a smidge past it, but they don't have guns, right? Or, you know, like they're not 100%.
They have electronic. Like
no,
electric,
I'm sorry. I'm saying in the original, 1968 original.
Yes, yeah, right.
Because you're saying like,
they
why
have
are they
guns-ish? They have like ish guns.
They can speak so like humanly in the original Planet of the Apes,
yes.
And in this one, they're still cavemaning it. Just it's okay. It's 300 years later. We're good. Just like.
Because again, suspension of disbelief.
Nira.
I don't give a shit if the chronology exactly lines up. You're lost in the middle now because now we just have like now no one in this movie. Literally, no one can fucking speak in this movie. Like no one can form like an eloquent, complete sentence because the humans have like already reverted, even though they can secretly talk, which you find out. But the apes are not quite to like Dr. Zaius level. So we're just why are we stuck in the middle, right? Planet of the Apes needs good dialogue. It depends on it. It feeds on it because the themes are tricky, complex, nuanced themes, at least if you're doing it right. So let me say something to you in terms that you can understand, Josh Friedman. Me want good dialogue. Me want nuance and meaning. Me want themes to feed Mindbox. Give me good themes, Josh. Fuck you and fuck this movie and fuck Disney.
No, but Brett, see, it's about good versus evil and the hero's journey and learning about becoming yourself and becoming the king of the birds. I don't know.
It is about becoming the king of the birds.
That's the big theme, folks.
That's the big theme of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Is will the monkeys become the kings of the birds?
We just watched all the movies again. They're all so good in their own way, and they each pick up a different sci-fi trope or genre move, and they invert it or they play with it, subvert it, like different episodes of the Twilight Zone, but all Planet of the Apes themed. And it's always exciting to watch how the sci-fi is going to manifest or how the chronology is going to be put together. And I find it interesting and fun in the original series, in the Tim Burton, and in the reboot franchise. But now here we are in reboot franchise part 2. And if they're going to like paint by numbers hero's journey this, I already saw Avatar 2. I didn't like it. I don't care how big the whale was.
You're going to lose all that goodwill from Matt Reeves.
These movies have a political dynamic that is essential. And then they also have a craft dynamic that I understand similar teammates were working on this iteration as the Matt Reeves iteration, but the love of the game wasn't there. And I don't want to say, there was less money in the budget. It's just, there was something not right. Just too much, so much time to rebuild the world and the story. I like 300 Years Jump. I like now there's Kingdom of now the clans are getting taken over and smushed by a big mean gorilla. I like that. I like that.
Don't forget where you came from, though. Don't forget where you came from. This movie didn't just spring out of thin air.
Right. They've been not fucking it up for like 40 years.
That's right.
Whatever. People like this movie, or
do they?
People liked this movie.
Yeah.
Guys, we got to hold Planet of the Apes to a higher standard. Otherwise, we're just going to get another one of these. Another who cares. Right. Nothing about the woman that played the part. The human lead, Mia, in this is sort of emblematic of the political atrophy of the series, or sort of this movie takes the whole humans are subjugated or humans can't talk almost like for granted. There's no stakes to it. I really feel, and we'll get into the ranking soon, but in in the fourth Planet of the Apes, in the War for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
You really feel the fear of being any version of the subjugated, the oppressed, whether you're monkey or human. Like whenever, like these movies do a really good job setting up why you wouldn't want to be oppressed in this society. And in Kingdom, we see why they're getting chased around, like in the first one, but like to what end? I don't know. It was scary in the sense that I don't want to get attacked by a giant gorilla, but it was sort of just mealy in its in its specificity of the fear, or specificity of the sci-fi moves we wanted to play here. It just became sort of soft and mealy, and now we're worried about, Simba and, the girl lion growing up, and who gives a fucking shit? You just had the best character ever. I know Caesar died, and I'll let Caesar go, but what I'm saying is this franchise is totally capable.
You got the template.
You
now.
made
you got the
a
template.
CGI character who wasn't like Bilbo Baggins. We didn't meet Caesar previously. I know he's referenced in the lore, but this is like a new character made in the 2010s, with amazing CGI, computer animated, like you freaks are obsessed with all this gravitas and energy and chutzpah and history, and we were so into him. And then to come out flat, 0 for 10 on new characters, pass. I don't care that the orangutan is a hippie or that he dies like Gandalf. He's not Maurice. He'll never be Maurice. Fuck Rocca.
And look, we're going to look at the box office in a second.
Fuck Rocca. He'll never be Maurice.
This movie's making tons of money, whatever. But this is what I say to Disney, to Hollywood, etc.
Stop fucking kids.
You might be.
Oh, sorry. What were you going to say? No, I thought you were going to say.
I was going to say,
sorry.
that as
sorry.
well.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you might be too big to fail. Maybe we've entered too big to fail. Everybody's too big to fail, and we all just have to live with it. You might be too big to fail, but you're not too big to suck, and it sucks to suck, and that's something. You suck for this movie, but I'm rooting for you on the next one. I want the next one to be good.
We're huge Apes guys.
We love Apes.
We'll come in for a meeting if you want to talk shop.
This is an intervention. This is in your interest. We're on your side.
We're on your side. Brett, how did this movie
I'm wearing
do?
a fucking monkey mask. I'm so excited.
How much money did this movie make, Brett?
All right, Margo, let's show me the money, Margo. Let's see what the box office was this week. Oh boy.
Oh, good.
Okay.
We're definitely getting another one.
Okay, yes. So, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes performed basically just as expected. The magic number they were aiming for domestic was over 50 million. They hit 58 in the opening weekend.
Love it.
So they're doing fine. If it stays on this course, it will end up being the second highest grossing of this new franchise. Dawn is the highest grossing. So they got their money. Everything worked out for the studios on this one. Let's look at some of the other movies though, before we come back to Planet of the Apes. So Fall Guy, which we talked all about, we spent most of our time last week talking about sort of the financials of Fall Guy, because that's what's most sort of interesting about it beyond outside the movie, is that they spent 130 million on what is essentially an original action comedy, even though it's based on a TV show, but no one remembers the TV show. And it was a sort of wager on Ryan Gosling's stardom, a wager on
Four Quadrant,
David Leitch's sort of directorial ability. He's coming off some hits, John Wick, Atomic Blonde, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a wager on a couple people, but it was a big, big wager. And it was just unnecessary because this movie didn't have to cost $130 million. There was a lot of unnecessary stuff up on the screen. It could have been tighter, and I think making the budget tighter would have made the movie better, would have forced them to be more creative. And something someone said on our YouTube channel, which we should note, is that we've been talking about the marketing and the budget. They made a good point that the marketing is not even included in like the sort of stated film budget that you see, right? Because the marketing is done differently by the is a different budget on the distributor side, and they were estimating, I don't know if this person is trustworthy or not, but they sound like they know what they were talking about. They estimated the marketing budget at like 50 million. So they're like the total budget is probably around 180 million.
Absolutely.
And wow, what a big waste. But this is very interesting because look, see that little green? See how everything's red? Everything always drops in week 2. That little green +6 is screens. They put Fall Guy had the widest release you could possibly have. They somehow found 6 more screens to put it on in week 2. Universal's in trouble. I think they need the Fall Guy to make its money back. So they're doing everything they can.
Bringing in $50 million so far.
50
Brett.
out of 130 to $180 million budget. There's also when you add in international, it's over 100. But even with international, it's still not at 130, which is like the break-even minimum. Not even break-even, the absolute minimum they would need to get to. Wow, Challenger's still at 3. Challengers is almost made as much as the Fall Guy. Challengers is at 38 domestic. 38 domestic. That's unbelievable. Even though it dropped off almost 900 screens this week, it's at 38 domestic. See, and because it had viral marketing, it didn't need fucking a big marketing budget. It just had that picture of Zendaya and the 2 boys kissing her on the cheek.
Perfect. Let's
which
go
everyone
see it
thought
again.
was the sexiest thing they'd ever seen in their lives.
Yeah, brother.
Tarot, as Joe said, the worst horror movie of the years.
The second worst.
Still making money. Oh, second worst. Thank you.
And yeah, it's it stayed on exactly the same number of screens, and it's brought in 12 million so far for Screen Gems, which is a Sony joint. And there's your favorite, still 5, still going strong.
People are still going to see Godzilla Kong.
Week 7 of
People
Godzilla
are still
Kong.
going to see
It's
Godzilla
made $191 million, Brett.
That's crazy.
I
think
it's still in 5th place.
When you add in international, I think it might be the second biggest movie of the year right now after Dune 2.
It's already made more than Kung Fu Panda 4, which is
Yeah.
8 this week. It's in its 10th week on,
Wow.
and that's also made 191
Kung Fu
million
Panda
so
4, though,
far.
I think we'll look at this maybe in next week or the week after. We're going to look at sort of like worldwide box office for 2024. A little preview of that. Kung Fu Panda crushed internationally. Crushed. And Civil War is up there as well. Civil War, if you add in worldwide, is over 100 million worldwide for an
War
A24 movie.
That's really cool.
It's wild.
It's cool.
Even though I didn't like it, I applaud it.
It's
I love it.
It's juicy juicy material.
I get it.
You know?
I get it. All right, now for the main event. This is very exciting.
Yes,
Joe and
finally.
I, in one of our extreme fits of
Wisdom.
of movie obsession, we watched all 10 Planet of the Apes movies this week. All 10 going back to 1968 all the way up to the current day. And we're going to rank them for you best to worst. How do we do this? How about this? Let's look at the Margo. Do you have that full screen of all the Planet of the Apes movies? Maybe just quickly refresh.
So here they are.
Quickly
Starting in
refresh.
1968.
1968, of course, with the original Charlton Heston, You Damn Dirty Apes, It's a Madhouse, Statue of Liberty on the Beach, etc., etc. And then in 1970, we get Beneath the Planet of the Apes sequel, directed by Ted Post. The original, of course, directed by Franklin Schaffner. And then 1971, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, directed by Don Taylor. And then we get 2 directed by J. Lee Thompson to end the original run. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Then we have to wait, 30 years until old Tim Burton got his thinking cap on and said, I want to do a remake of Planet of the Apes. So he does that with Mark Wahlberg in 2001. And then 10 years later, we get this new run we're on, this reboot series, which are essentially prequels leading up to the 1968 movie. Rise of the Planet of the Apes with James Franco, directed by Rupert Wyatt. And then the 2 by Matt Reeves, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes. And then finally this most recent one, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Wes Ball. So, Joe, how about let's kick it off. Give me your bottom 5, and I want to see how they correlate to my bottom 5. Let's just take the temperature, see how we're doing.
My bottom 5, I believe, go like this. 10, the worst Planet of the Apes movie is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Joe, I have Kingdom at 10 as well.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I guess for, if it was just a regular week at the movies, I would say this is a bad movie. Not the worst movie I've ever seen, but not great at all. For a Planet of the Apes movie, this movie's last. This movie gets 10th place, Brett.
Yep, I have Kingdom at 10 as well.
That's right. 9 and 8 and 7. So I adore the original 5. I love the way it looks.
So
I love
good.
the actors.
Oh my
I love
God.
the whole gestalt,
The kitsch, the color,
and also
the humor, the intelligence.
and it's not just the kitsch. It's also the the shattering sadnesses and the
They get so dark.
intensely real stuff.
So
and
dark.
Just wonderful, wonderful movies. So basically everything from here on out is good movies. I just want to say that. I like all the movies that we're about
even
to talk
like the
about.
Tim Burton?
Yes, I
Wow,
like it. It's not
I like
that
this.
the rest
I
of these
like
movies, but there are 3 that are not great.
Okay.
But I like them. And those 3 are the Tim Burton one, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. That's the 5th one of the original series. And Beneath the Planet of the Apes. That is the 2nd one in the original series. I would call those the ones that are a slightly less than good. They're pretty good, or they're okay, or they're not great.
Because Beneath the Planet of the Apes, the immediate sequel, is the first half of the movie. I was really let down because it's literally just a rehash of the first one, to the extent that they have like a Charlton Heston doppelganger, because Heston didn't want to be in it that much. They had to like really twist his arm to be in it at all, and so he's just like sort of in a framey sort of narrative at the beginning and the end. So the first half is just a sort of lukewarm rehash of the first one.
And they finally go into the secret zone from the first one,
but
and I'm all hyped
yes.
up to see what's behind there, and all that's behind there. Well, it sounds interesting, and it looks cool, and it certainly is weird, but it feels more TV-y than as grounded sci-fi, or at least elevated sci-fi, that the other ones in this portion of the series sort of feel. These aliens that live under the ground that worship a nuclear bomb sounds cool, is technically cool. It's just okay. It just feels a little.
Yeah.
It just feels
I
a
mean,
little.
it's better than everything that's
I
come
don't know.
before it in the movie, and it like salvages the movie from being 10 on this list for me.
It's just not my favorite bad guy ever, I guess.
No, it's like a little weird religious cult
Yeah.
that speaks telepathically and worships a golden nuclear bomb,
And
which does sound
which
cool.
they do set off, and which does.
Charlton Heston
Now,
sets
this
off.
one, maybe we're going to put it at the bottom here, but let's just say maybe the best ending of the whole entire gosh darn
An
thing.
insane
And this
ending.
franchise
Insane
has
ending.
nothing but good endings.
Insane
Nothing
ending.
but good endings.
The
ending of this
Charlton
one's
Heston
awesome.
reaches up and ignites the nuclear bomb, and then you hear a narrator say, like, in a distant corner of the universe, circling an insignificant sun, a little green planet is no more. And you're like, oh shit.
Cut to white. And
Like,
you're just
cut,
whoa.
like you have not since the Sopranos season finale has there been a harder cut. It is
Awesome.
so hard. It is the hardest cut I've ever seen in a movie. Like the movie is like, this movie is over. This movie's
really cool.
over now.
Well, then that's so
I
distinctive.
like that though. It's really funny.
I like that too. So let's not put it 9.
No.
9 though. How about I'm going to pitch you on Battle at 9.
I can put 9.
Battle's the 5th
Yeah.
one. It's fun. It's because now chimpanzees go to war with the mean authoritarian gorillas is sort of the general gist. And there's a lot to love and a lot to look at. But like some of those,
You get Paul Williams as Virgil, which is fun.
yeah, and John Huston is
John
in there
Huston's
as well.
the voice of John Huston.
Yes, which is fun, and it's an Apes movie, so it's it's fun and good, but sort of like some of the lesser Showa era Godzilla movies. There's plenty to love because I love a Showa era Godzilla, but the whole thing didn't come together story wise and thematically, and I'm happy with that at 9.
Yeah, and I think it comes out in 1973. It's the last of the original movies, and I believe it's like a year away from the TV series coming out, or maybe a year or 2 away from the TV series, and it feels like a pilot of the TV series. It just feels like an episode of a TV show. It just doesn't have like the scope or the depth that we've come to expect from the previous ones. I like that at 9.
So do you have any? So basically,
okay,
now I'm Tim Burton.
You have Tim Burton and you have Beneath the
And I
Planet
have
of the Apes.
Beneath.
Now here's
But
the one that you did not mention.
Which one do you have down
Because
here?
I have Tim Burton and Beneath in my I have those at like 6 and 7, so we're not far.
So you
off.
have a different 8.
Okay, so the 8 that
What do you have?
I have my least favorite of the reboot series of the new ones.
Okay.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes, starring James Franco. I have it 9.
Make the
I
case.
didn't like it.
Make the case.
Okay, here's Look, I know you like Caesar. I love Caesar. And I love the monkeys in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It is, just because of when it came out, it is the worst of the CGI of the new ones just because it's the oldest. I do like that final battle on the Golden Gate Bridge, et cetera, et cetera. So I like the monkeys. Joe, I learned something I didn't expect to learn. And I think I knew it in my head, but I now want to articulate it very clearly to you after watching all the Planet of the Apes movies. Mark Wahlberg who's in the Tim Burton one, and James Franco, who's in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Mark Wahlberg and James Franco are worst movie stars ever. They are the worst, like, for people who have like ascended to the A-list of the A-list, these guys are heading up Planet of the Apes movies, right? For people who have ascended to the A-list of the A-list, the top of the mountain, Mark Wahlberg and James Franco are our worst movie stars, maybe ever, maybe since Ronald Reagan. They are our worst movie stars. These guys, and I'm not saying that I hate every performance by these guys. I like Dirk Diggler. I like Mark Wahlberg in The Yards.
I was going to say, what about all the James Gray?
I like him in James Gray movies.
How dare you?
I like when an Indio Tor sort of frames him in the right way.
The Departed.
Yes, I like him in The Departed. I like kooky James Franco and Pineapple Express, et cetera, et cetera.
Mark Wahlberg and the other guys, funny.
Mark Wahlberg is funny in the other guys, but when these guys are just trying to do movie star thing, when they essentially have to be like Harrison Ford, they cannot do that. No. They cannot freaking do that. It is. They can't like emote. They do this like frozen version of intensity that says nothing, that does nothing. Their voice, one of the actor's main instruments, James Franco's voice has none of the like gravitas or like power or sort of like fluidity. It has nothing. Like the voice. Think about all your favorite big movie star actors. The voice is half the battle. His voice is so like underwhelming for the status of movie star he's trying to aspire to.
Yep.
And freaking Mark Wahlberg, if I can, I mean,
you can
when it comes to movies like this, again, where he has to be Harrison Ford, just a charismaless block of Dorchester Mass douche. Like all the Mark Wahlbergness comes out. It all comes out. He has so little range. James Franco has so little range. Their faces are so deeply uninteresting, and I can say that because that's their fucking tool. They're an actor. They emote nothing, intensity without meaning. It almost seems like they hate movies or they've never seen movies before. It's like almost like they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So as much as I like the monkeys I actually like the monkeys in Tim Burton's movie a lot too. And the thing I like about Tim Burton's movie that it gets points for me is it maintains the dream of the original Planet of the Apes by not over-relying on CGI. He got Rick Baker, baby, to do the makeup and special effects, so you get Paul Giamatti with facial prosthetics on. You get Tim Roth with facial prosthetics on, Helena Bonham Carter with facial prosthetics on. So I love, and he also, I think, went back more to the original book by Pierre Boulet, which they weren't able to do in the original because it cost too much money, but he's giving you this more sort of lavish aristocratic vision of the ape society that I thought was interesting. So for that, Tim Burton's going to rank higher for me, but man, Franco and Wahlberg tank those two fucking movies for me. Tank them hard. That's why I have Rise so low, but I've heard you like Rise. Tell me why.
I love Rise. I love Rise because of the monkeys. There's two parts. There's the ape storyline, which I find very effective and affecting. Caesar's sort of journey to becoming this ape, to becoming this ape that can think and talk, and the way that he grew up with James Franco, and then the way that he gets put into that prison run by Brian Cox and Draco Malfoy.
Okay, that is funny.
I find that to be so sad. And there he meets Maurice, goat character, and he learns he gets all the apes on his side. And it's very inspirational. And then they go to Genexus, boo, the mean company that makes that tortures the monkeys, boo. And then he saves Koba and all the monkeys getting tested on, and they go over the Golden Gate Bridge, and they have a big confrontation with the police on the bridge for like 10 minutes. It's an amazing action set piece.
We're getting into the better ones.
You asked me what I like. I loved it.
You didn't mention John Lithgow, interestingly
but
enough.
The humans are a weaker part of the story, there's no doubt. But it is funny.
You didn't mention John Lithgow banging on that piano.
It's funny to see James Franco.
Weird,
dude,
right?
Brett's not wrong. Do no acting. To Brett's point, it's like, how actors, you read the script and then your job is to go, but this person had a whole life before they said these words. I'm going to go think about how their life might have affected their behavior and such. James Franco just comes in, he just reads the words, and he doesn't do any of that.
This was during the James Franco period where he was doing 2 PhDs and trying to bang teenagers. Yeah. So it's understandable if he was a little distracted,
coasting,
but it definitely comes across.
Freda Pinto's in this movie, so obviously points, but wow, her character's so bad, and so is she in the movie. The guy who plays MLK and Selma's in this movie, and I like him. What happened to him?
Oh,
so
David.
Olaweo.
Yes.
And John Lithgow's in this movie, and he does a Flowers for Algernon. So at first he's really dumb, but then the Alzheimer's medicine works, and he becomes really smart. And John Lithgow really gets to lean into having Alzheimer's, and that's jarring. But I love the story. I love the Caesar, and I think it's just like a exciting entry point for a new franchise reboot, unlike Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, that's interesting. It does give us the basis for the Matt Reeves movie, so maybe that's
so much more
points.
exciting.
And also, people think that the highlight of Tom Felton's career is that he played Draco Malfoy. The
right.
highlight of Tom Felton's career is that in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he gets to say the "Get your dirty paws off me" or "Get your paws off me, you damn dirty apes." He gets the big line from the original. They give it to
Draco.
Tom Felton.
I love it. So I like that movie.
All right, how about this? Let me
I got to talk about Burton, but put Battle at 8. Battle's so forgettable.
Battle's a 9.
Oh, sorry.
Beneath.
How about? Can I interest you in Beneath at 9 or at 8? I mean, because I like. Do you like Tim Burton more or less than Beneath?
That ending though is gutsy. It's so gutsy.
But so's Tim Burton's.
Yeah, Tim Burton's is weird.
A couple good points about Tim Burton.
Sell me on Burton. I don't like putting two originals this far down, but you sell me on Burton.
Here's the thing about Burton's.
Right,
the makeup's not kind of good, and the prosthetics aren't very good looking.
Yeah, they're phenomenal.
They are some of the best
phenomenal.
I have ever seen in any movie. The way, and then for the makeup to look that way, and then to have the actors be able to move like Tim Roth so freely in them, and all of the world building and the sets and the way that the planet looks now, the costuming, the helmets, the battle armor, the horses, the hair. It is an amazing production, and the art design is spectacular. The script, bad. The story, kind of interesting. I like the reshuffling of the deck for this Planet of the Apes and how the humans and the apes interact, and how the humans, and how Mark Wahlberg's from the future, and how space is used. And at the end of Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes, it has a really effective twist ending, a la the '68 Planet of the Apes.
He nails the ending,
but with a new
shockingly
flavor
he nails it.
That's so fun and cool.
An impossible task, and he nails the ending with a equally fun but different twist.
The women, there's a human woman and Helena Bonham Carter's ape woman that both, like, for whatever reason, will not stop lusting after Mark Wahlberg, and their love triangle is so impossible to watch. Helena Bonham Carter gives the worst performance of all time. I think it was pre-divorce sabotage. She must have hated Tim at this point, because holy shit, she, a good actor, she is doing some bad work, and she single-handedly almost ruins the movie. But Giamatti, Michael Clark Duncan, Tim Roth, they're killing. I hate Helena in this, but overall, I think this movie is underrated. It's not a good movie, but it's not really one of these worst movie of all times. I didn't want to turn it off, and I kind of wanted to walk out on Kingdom.
Yeah,
about an hour into it.
You're right. It's also a movie we have to evaluate all these movies in their entirety, including Beneath the Planet of the Apes. We can't just like focus on like the fun weird ending, because I found Tim Burton's got better as it went on. Like the first. I mean, pre getting to the Planet of the Apes is unwatchable. Like Mark Wahlberg on the spaceship, and then he gets that weird Zoom call from like his friend.
It's just saved
and it's
by
the most incomprehensible like friend group you've ever seen in your life.
He's mean to the
and
chimp.
It's like somebody got engaged, and you're like, who are these? These are your friends?
Okay. Yeah. No, it's not. Look, it's not a great movie, but I liked it more than I liked Beneath.
Okay, I
did. I just did.
But you're not gonna.
I'm not dancing with you.
Rise can't go at 8.
I'm not dancing with you on Rise, because Rise is my second favorite of the new reboot series.
Third favorite.
No.
Second favorite?
Yes, honey.
Better just to test the waters.
Yeah,
better than Dawn. Better than Dawn.
I do.
You're fucking crazy.
A smidge.
That's insane.
A smidge.
That's
insane.
All they're
all very tight. A smidge. I don't think that Oh, they really figured out Jason Clarke and Kerry Russell's characters in Dawn so much better than James Franco and Fredo Pintos.
But they're such good actors, though. It doesn't matter.
But like, so what? Kerry Russell's completely and totally underutilized. And Jason Clarke, all of his parts are like, get back to Koba. I don't care about your fucking waterfall generator.
But that movie's about your boy Caesar.
I love Caesar.
Yeah, that's the ultimate Caesar movie.
Listen, I think
that's the Caesar movie. Is Dawn.
Well, okay, look, Dawn. Since we're talking about Dawn, Dawn has Caesar and Dawn has Koba. Koba, the mean monkey that was really tortured. Humans start encroaching on their lands, and he wants none of it. And Caesar keeps showing mercy, and eventually Koba takes down Caesar and tries to do what's the bad lion in Lion King? Scar tries to scar, Caesar's Mufasa and take over the world. Now Gary Oldman is in it. I think the San Francisco falling apart is very effective. I really like Dawn. I really like Rise. I think Rise is underrated.
I don't know why you like Rise so much.
Because I really love all the monkey parts and I really like the story. How about this? Look, so
let me hit you with a red line here.
Okay.
Rise ain't getting above 6. Over my dev body, Rise
that's fine.
Above 6. I have it at 9, so I'm getting you a concession here.
I appreciate that. Don't be the guy that puts Rise under beneath, and you're gonna be sorry.
No. It won't. So I'll put Rise at 6. That's my concession. That's a concession.
That's a huge concession.
Okay,
thank you.
Rise is at 6.
Rise high, rise up.
I almost want to put Burton above Rise, though. I'm coming around on Burton the more we're talking. I
really like Burton.
What about Rise at 7, Burton at 6?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Good. That's it. That's it.
Why?
I still gave you 2 on Rise. I still give you 2 points.
I love that. No. I like the Tim Burtons. People say, "Oh, Tim Burton, Planet of the Apes was the beginning of the end of his age of being at his height." No. Planet of the Apes is the end of the height, not the beginning of the end. Mark that. Write that down, folks.
Planet of the Apes.
Because especially maybe when Planet of the Apes Tim Burton came out, everyone was just so used to lavish, gorgeous, expensive prosthetics, costumes, lighting, and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, from the future, looking back at this movie, it makes me sad, essentially. Now, I like Rise more, but I'm also kind of happy to put
And I gotta say, he gets so many bonus points for sticking with makeup and prosthetics and nailing it. All right, so that means that Beneath goes at 8, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I had Beneath at 6.
Okay, so this is where we're disagreeing.
I like that ending more than you did. And I like the I like the nuclear bomb cult better than you did.
I guess so.
And Heston and his doppelganger fighting in that jail
I
cell.
like that part very much.
No, this is looking good.
This is right though, because like we said, Brett, from 9 and up, these are all good.
No, these are all good.
9 and up is just good.
So here's what we're looking at so far. We got
all right. At 6, we have Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. 7, Rise of the Planet of the Apes of James Franco. 8, Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
The sequel, the
9,
sequel.
Battle, the 5th one that's sort of gorillas versus chimps, and then 10 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the new one that we didn't like. Okay. So now we're at top 5.
So now we're in the really good ones. Okay,
really good ones. So what's left?
All right, here is. How about this?
Okay,
I want you to hit me with, just for argument's sake.
Okay,
hit me with your 1, 2, 3. Your best, second best, third.
My
best.
1, 2, 3. I have thought about this for the past 2 weeks as we were doing so hard.
I've been thinking about this all week.
So hard. But I meditated on it, and I have to be honest, and here's my top 3. In third place, the third greatest Planet of the Apes movie is 1968's original Charlton Heston starring Planet of the Apes. My second favorite Planet of the Apes movie is the almost perfect Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the one when a young Caesar leads a revolt in ape prison, essentially. And then my favorite Planet of the Apes movie, my number 1 personally, Brett, would be the third movie in this franchise, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. In this movie, after the second movie, the whole world goes to white. It's done. Except what we learn in 3 is a pod or whatever has shot out of time with Dr. Nira and Cornelius, and they have gone back in time. They've gone intergalactically elsewhere, and they landed on Earth in early 1970s. They are alien. They are brought to the trial. People are freaking out. Here's these talking apes from space. Oh my God. These aliens have visited this planet. And then what does this movie do? it just invites the aliens in with open arms and shows them an amazing time.
They become celebrities.
For like 45
they become
minutes
like
to an
pop
hour.
culture celebrities.
They just get like, and it's so fun to watch. It's the most thrilling sci-fi twist of them all, is watching the aliens be shown around very politely by their beloved fans, humans.
But
Well, yeah.
But
there's always a freaking fly in the ointment.
So
with
they're going to they're shopping on Rodeo
it's
Drive. They're trying on suits.
Dr. Zero is speaking
dresses.
at the Bay Area Women's Club about like female lib, like 1970s
Truly.
style.
They're going to
getting standing
cocktail
ovations.
parties.
They're getting taken. Someone takes Cornelius to a boxing match, and then he pans in on his face. His face is a monkey, and he goes, "Ghastly," or like he's like
ghastly,
inhumane.
Roddy McDowell is Cornelius.
These humans are ghastly.
But behind the scenes this whole time, while you're enjoying
always
this
a mean
fun
guy.
little sort of sitcom version of outer space apes in the big city,
it's the most enjoyable thing you've ever
the
seen.
government is plotting about how to destroy them because it knows that
they're going to give birth to
they've found out about the prophecy of where the world is going, and so they want to destroy these intelligent apes before the intelligent apes destroy them. And the last third of the movie, the third act, takes this 180-degree hard turn into just some of the like tensest, darkest material I've ever seen in a sci-fi movie.
They like hunt them down.
These three people who have been celebrities
so scary, right?
are being hunted through the streets, hunted into this like abandoned ship, like off a Long Beach or something, and with their newborn baby, and they're being hunted by the military and by these government operatives,
and they have a little baby.
It ends in this like tragic way, and it's so sad, and you're just like it is this just like whirlwind of emotion you're being put through. Joe, I had the exact same three.
What?
I had the exact same three.
You had Escape 1, Conquest 2,
Escape,
Planet of the Apes 3?
Joe, Escape from the Planet of the Apes is one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen
Isn't
in my
it?
life.
It's so
good.
creative.
It's
so
good and creative.
It's such a different flavor.
Yes.
And then to pull off
Yes.
the tonal shift
Yes.
to such a high degree is not easy.
Yeah.
And they make it look easy. Like, when a movie decides to be sad, it's sad all of a sudden. No, this is like expertly crafted sci-fi. Such a tense, dramatic, heartbreaking ending. I loved Nira and Cornelius, who I didn't care for in the first two films. I thought they were annoying.
They're so good. I love that they play up their
they were
marriage.
The best.
I love that they play up their marriage. Like they do all these old married couple things.
Oh God, it's
during
so
like
good.
government hearings. It's so inventive and funny. And Amy was watching Escape from the Planet of the Apes with me early on, and she was there for when they're celebrities and they're shopping on Rodeo Drive.
The greatest.
And then she had to go work, and I came back after I watched the movie. I was like, Amy, Escape from the Planet of the Apes hits you in the fucking gut
it fucks you
so hard. I am like I can't. I'm like crying. I'm like in turmoil over this movie, and she's like, "What?
Yes.
The sitcom where the
Yes.
monkeys are shopping on Rodeo Drive." I was like, Amy,
Yes.
you got to watch this movie. It
looks
pulls
amazing.
It off, and it pulls
It
it
has
off.
so many surprises. It looks amazing. It is great character development. It's totally heartbreaking, and it propels you into the next bit of this franchise.
And we didn't talk about one of the great characters in all of the franchise, which is Ricardo Montalban's
Amazing.
circus. Oh
runs a
my
circus.
God, Armando.
Yes.
Armando, who runs like this humane circus.
He's like Schindler.
And
not to be crass, but like that's
No.
He's
as an
saved
analogy,
the monkey.
he saves their child
Yes.
from being executed by the government essentially. But he's just this fun, fanciful circus master. He's like a good version of because you've seen that character forever in Pinocchio and everything. Like the guy who runs the circus is always evil.
Yeah.
No, what if he was good and fun and humane?
That's the best. But that's the thing about Apes.
Yes.
So what if it was fun for an hour?
Yes.
It's so different and so cool, and it lands like a fucking 1,000-pound piano on your head. But there is, just for the Conquest heads out there.
Oh,
losing their
Conquest
mind.
is the real deal, though. Conquest is so good.
A hair's breadth away.
So close.
Really, I think
So close.
Escape
1A and
Escape
1B.
wins because it's so distinct as a piece of sci-fi, and it's enjoyable the whole way through. Similarly good the whole entire way through, and I mean very good, is Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, the fourth film in the franchise. So this little baby, Ricardo Montalban, does successfully get him to escape, despite the government thinking that they killed him. And in Conquest, in order to hide, Ricardo Montalban puts Caesar the ape into ape prison essentially for his own safety, so that he blends in and people, because he's getting too smart and too old, that he needs to hide. So they put him in ape prison, and then it becomes a prison escape movie. And Caesar, much like in Rise, a good Planet of the Apes movie, leads the revolt out of the jail, and it ends in this cacophonous Battle of Algiers style,
punk,
handy cam,
weird
monkey man,
Technicolor,
fucking
futuristic sci-fi
rebellion
city.
for a while, and it is violent.
Incredible.
It is
It's
not
it's
nice.
Violent. It's violent.
It is fucking scary.
Yes.
And it is so raw and real. The anger with because it's not like today when it's like, oh, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, all the apes are running around because they're scared. It's like, no, these apes are fighting because 4 years ago was the fucking Civil Rights Act was signed, It's like these apes have something to fucking like fight for, live for. Like this is like a political film.
It's
and it has
very
a POV.
political film. And there are shots of when they are like running up against the cops in that courtyard in this like futuristic version of Los Angeles, and they like show the like apes approaching through the sort of like smoke, and then they just keep showing. When they show the cops, they don't even show their faces. They just show this incredible line of like guns and shields that just say police, and they keep cutting to that shot, and it is like, it's fucking amazing. Conquest is like punk. It is hardcore. Conquest is so good.
It gets second though because of this one little nugget.
Yes.
They changed the last minute of the film. Did you know that, Brett?
I didn't.
So the one that we saw is the theatrical release, because right as Caesar is about to murder the governor, the mean human that was the main baddie this whole entire film, about to bash him over the head in front of this thousands of apes watching upon him to lead his rebellion, just as this violent justice is about to be delivered, Caesar, who's filled with rage for the past hour, going absolutely insane, stops short of killing this guy, stands up and goes, but you know what? Now, in the middle of this prison riot is a time for mercy, and the Planet of the Apes is better than that. And now it's time for the Planet of the Apes. And it's like, wait, what? Caesar had a real downshift there.
Yeah.
That's because the studio made them do that, because what really happens is he fucking murders that governor brutally. All the other prison humans join the apes, and they all lead the rebellion, and they like completely and totally crush the authority of the humans. So that like this movie gets all the way right up to the edge, and then the studio goes, I think we're gonna do nice Caesar really fast, and
not
it's
Conquest,
and it doesn't like ruin it, and it doesn't mean it's not two. It's just kind of more interesting than a ding. But I do. It is fun to note because it has that one little let up, unlike Escape, which decides to just murder your soul at the end.
Yes, and Escape has the humor in the beginning, all the sort of like married couple back and forth.
This series
like,
should have humor, Brett.
Yes.
It's talking monkeys.
Yes.
And later on, Matt Reeves goes in the dark post-Nolan direction, which I like.
He's doing Nolan Batman. He's doing Daniel Craig
and that
Bond.
has space because he commits.
Yes.
But I really like the levity of the early ones, and I love it in Escape the most.
We just can't. Contemporary filmmakers can't do that. They can't do that style. They just cannot do it. They've got to do, Nolan Batman style.
Big budget.
That's their big move. It's like, let's make it dark and gritty. Well, speaking of,
let's talk about
we've
that.
got 2 slots left.
Okay.
I think you want War at 4. Sell me on War for the Planet of the Apes at 4 over Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Here's why I like War for the Planet of the Apes more than I like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn has a lot going for it. It has Koba. It has Caesar. It has Maurice, and it has my favorite shot in the entire franchise when Matt Reeves, when the Koba's army is going into San Francisco to take over or fight the humans, kill all the humans. Matt Reeves puts his camera on top of a tank, and as the tank swivels with a monkey sort of shooting a machine gun around, you see in 360 the entire battle of monkeys
Incredible
and man
shot.
and horses. It is the
Virtuoso
coolest thing in the
shot.
world. The reason I like War a smidgy more than Dawn is because in War, my problem with Dawn is it's a little like somber and it's a little bloated. And in War, Reeves just commits to the somberness.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He just settles into the somberness in a way, and he like relaxes into the dourness and the grayness, and he doesn't even bother with like, let's make it a little green here and make it a little purple there. And he'll like go back to this in the Batman where he's like, turn up the green, turn up the purple. That's good, exciting direction. For whatever reason in War, he kind of like grows up for a minute. It's his best movie that he's ever made.
It's a lean, mean war movie.
I love a snow western, Brett, and this movie this movie's giving me snow western. It's
McCabe and
almost
Mrs. Miller.
sillily apocalypse now-y, but you know what?
Yeah,
it just leans in and is like, it says ape apocalypse now on the wall. It's like, okay, they know about that.
And you see it says like monkey hunter on the back of one of the soldiers,
Yes.
very sort of like Vietnam-y and like, it's
Caesar's-
I agree with you. I think
Caesar's-
war is better than Dawn.
I'm with you, man. Caesar is broken at this point, and he has a really impactful scene with Woody Harrelson at the very end of this movie that is so dark, where he's about to kill Woody Harrelson, who's the meanest guy in the world, and
in real life.
instead he shows him mercy, which is actually the much meaner thing to do, because he makes Woody Harrelson kill himself essentially, and it's just so freaking dark. I also think it's beautifully shot. I also think it's the best CGI. I know Brett spoke about how he liked the CGI in Kingdom. I'm no CGI expert. But just as a fan of movies, I was blown away by the CGI in War for the Planet of the Apes.
It's great.
And
great.
I like Caesar all gray.
Well, it does what you have to do, where
it's fucking cool.
it blends the CGI into real surroundings, real locations.
He does that well. He does that well in both of those movies.
Yeah.
And then in Kingdom, it's back to soft focus because we're not going to pay for the fucking background. You know what I mean? But we're going to pay for the CGI, but we're not going to pay for the amazing sets that Reeves gets to utilize in Dawn and War. And I'm no Dawn hater. These movies are all so close for me.
Yeah, minus the original run, I think
love
Matt
War, man.
Reeves is hit the highest heights in the Planet of the Apes franchise outside of the original run. So I like this a lot. I think we nailed it.
What do we have
Here's what
here?
we've got. Read them off.
All right. In 10th place, the worst one, we have the new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
So bad. I put it 11 if I could.
9, Battle for the Planet of the Apes. 8, Beneath for the Planet of the Apes. 7, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's the first one of the new franchise. 6, we have the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. Controversial, probably. 5.
It's growing on me.
5, Dawn. 4, War. 3, 1968 original Planet of the Apes. Second best, Conquest. That's the fourth one. Number 1, Planet of the Apes movie of all time, according to Movies Baby, so that's the facts, is Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
That's the facts,
That
Jack.
is the ranking, folks.
Escape and Conquest 2 are just on a different planet for me. They are just above and beyond.
No, they're like...
Yeah. And I love this franchise, period, but those two are just next level.
And I
level.
love 68, but Conquest and Escape, there's an art to making sequels. And it's always exciting to see sequels that elevate the original material. And those movies are just excellent sci-fi.
The dialogue
movies.
just hits another level. All the themes just have an extra level of nuance and complexity. Oh, it's just smart and weird and funny and dark. I love
and
those
enjoy
two.
and easy to watch. Like
so easy to watch.
Watch it with your 12-year-old. Watch it with your dad. Watch it with
if you
your
haven't
grandma.
seen Escape and Conquest,
everyone's gonna like the movie.
Watch Escape.
Everyone's
and
gonna like the
Conquest.
movie.
All right. Before we go, I wanted to pay tribute to a giant of cinema who sadly passed away about a week ago. Roger Corman. Oh, the legend Roger Corman. It's a sad week when Roger Corman and Steve Albini die in the same week. That's really a gut punch of a loss, because to me they represent basically the same thing, which is the best thing you can represent, which is just pure uncompromising engines of art and collaboration and independence in popular mediums, which is hard as hell to do. And they both produced just incredible results. I mean, their bodies of work are amazing and will stand the test of time. And so R.I.P. Steve Albini as well, but we're a movies podcast. We'll focus on Roger Corman, and just wanted to do a quick tribute to Corman. Beyond when you look at New Hollywood, and I also think one thing that's interesting about Planet of the Apes real quick is how that first run coincides with the New Hollywood period. These movies never get lumped in with Scorsese, Coppola, Bogdanovich, Altman, Brian De Palma, et cetera, but in terms of what was going on in popular cinema, these movies really sort of parallel what was going on in New Hollywood, I think, in a lot of ways. They're very rebellious. I don't know. I would love for the Planet of the Apes movies to start getting more attention as part of the New Hollywood movement.
No, because they're popcorn movies. They're big budgets. They're studio movies that everybody's also seen French New Wave films as
Exactly.
well. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
and liked them.
Yes. And similarly with Corman, beyond all the big names that you know, there's so many people that behind the scenes were really responsible for the glory days of the 1970s New Hollywood movement, which, as much as we love 1999, which we're doing on Bergman's right now, is really the greatest run of movies in Hollywood history. It's never going to be equaled. And Corman was as responsible for it as anyone, not just because of the films he made himself, Death Race 2000, A Bucket of Blood, all his Edgar Allan Poe adaptations, all of which elevated low-budget exploitation movies into an art form. But in addition, because of all the filmmakers and actors that he mentored, it's insane. He basically ran a college, and if you graduated, that meant you were almost automatically going to become a major figure in cinema, in American cinema. And it's because of the lessons that Corman taught them, that you can be a genius and you can do genre movies. You can make art on a small budget. You can maintain your independence at all costs. Corman was the spirit that his apprentices imbibed and then went on to create the greatest movies in American history. We're talking about Coppola, Bogdanovich, Scorsese, Jack Nicholson, Pam Grier, Robert Towne, Jonathan Demme, Penelope Spheris, Robert De Niro. That's literally a fraction of the list of people that came up under Corman. That's crazy. And whether they were just working the camera or acting, or they would get whatever work they could get on a Corman set, because to be on a Corman set meant you were getting a hands-on film education to become a independent filmmaker. It boggles the mind what he produced, both directly and indirectly. And also, he would then go on to literally produce work by several of these young directors. He produced Caged Heat, which is Jonathan Demme's first movie. He produced Boxcar Bertha, Scorsese's second feature. And this is crazy. I did not know this. In the 70s, through his production company, New World Studios, Corman would... the like frenzy for international cinema was like dying out a little bit from kind of the glory days of like the 50s and 60s, and so he would go and pick up the rights to all of these international art house films. Like he got Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers, Fellini's Americord, which I think is one of his best. That's my wife Amy's favorite Fellini movie. Truffaut's Story of Adele H, a Kurosawa, and then he would market them aggressively, and he would even apparently put them in drive-ins, which I think is so funny. He would get he put fucking Cries and Whispers in a drive-in. Corman rules. Corman is the GOAT.
Yes.
R.I.P. Roger Corman. It's sad that you're not with us anymore, but you lived a hell of a life. You contributed in incalculable ways to cinema, and you're the man. I also, speaking of our personal heroes, I want to shout out our Patreon executive producers, and of course you can sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/moviesbaby with 5 Ys. You get so much fun stuff over there, full audio and video, ad-free, lots of bonus stuff. There's a new episode of Sarah Freilich's After Death VHS up right now, where she shows you gems from her VHS collection, talks about the world of VHS collecting. If you're a movie lover, patreon.com/moviesbaby is the place to be. And we can't announce yet, but we have some more fun stuff, some new stuff coming to Patreon very soon that you're going to love. Stay tuned for that. But we couldn't do it without our executive producers over there. I want to shout out our executive producers, past and present: Katie, Josh V, Josh S, Jessica, Mary Ellen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support over there. And speaking of Patreon, one of our subscribers, really quickly, Jason, the best DM I've ever got. Jason reached out to us on Patreon and said, "Hey, I've got some VHS I want to donate to the Forever Dog Vault."
Nice.
And I said, "Holy shit, baby, send that over." And look at what we got, Joe. Look at what we got this week in the mail here at Forever Dog.
Yeah, it was the best
Can you
box I ever
believe
opened.
this? I knew he had some good stuff. I was shocked.
We got some beauts.
Shocked by what we got. Look at this. I've never seen this. I've always wanted to.
No, that is amazing.
Electric Glide in Blue. Robert Blake, Murderer Robert Blake.
Yep.
Originally considered a cult film for its stunning visuals, Easy Rider style social commentary, and rock soundtrack, Electric Glide in Blue became the hit of the Cannes Film Festival on its release. How much more do I have to say? Robert Blake in Avant-Garde.
Throw it in.
Come on, let's watch it right now.
Show the folks at home that Scream cover as well. Like, look at how fire some of these are, folks.
This Scream cover's amazing. Look at that Scream cover.
I had 4 people come in my office this week and go, "Whoa,
look at
where'd you get
Scream
that?
cover.
I've never seen that before."
That should be like in the Chicago Institute of Art. Look at that. Look at that cover.
So this person wrote is this guy's name is Justin?
Yes.
Brett? This guy wrote a nicest letter ever.
No.
Sorry.
Jason.
I'm so sorry.
Rocky
Please
Horror.
excuse me,
Rocky
Jason.
Horror on
Rocky
VHS.
Horror. The whole office was flipping about these this week. We got Das Boot Director's Cut.
Das Boot Director's Cut. Pink
The
Floyd,
Wall.
The Wall. Pink Floyd,
Come
The Wall. This one cracks me up. I've never heard of this. Sean Penn, Ed Harris, and Gary Oldman in a movie called State of Grace. And the caption of State of Grace is The Irish Mob in New York.
Great. That sounds like a watch-along Wednesday. Future
That might be a
watch-along
watch-along Wednesday, which you get on the Patreon. He sent us both Joe and I's favorite film of all time, American Beauty.
Yeah.
I love it. We hate American Beauty. I love getting it on VHS.
Me too.
I love it. I love having this on VHS.
Two innocent stars.
Das Boot, like you said, 2 VHS. I love it when you get
I love
two.
a 2 VHS.
The brick,
the
baby.
best.
Das Boot, Wolfgang Peterson. And we got some cool music stuff. We got The Ventures live in Japan, 1965. Are you freaking kidding me? You're the man. Josh, thank you so much. Jason, Jesus, now I'm, fuck, what's wrong with us?
Well, we limoncello.
I'm just in a frenzy of excitement right now.
No,
Jason,
I know. It was so nice
thank
of
you,
you, dude.
Jason. You're the man. We really appreciate it. This is
And
amazing.
these won't go to waste. We are building
No.
essentially Noah's Ark of VHS here at Forever Dog,
Yes.
calling it the Dog Den. We are, guys.
The Dog Den is
one day.
coming. The Dog Den is coming.
When you need sustenance, when you need nutrition, when you need a break from the world, you're going to come to the Dog Den. You're going to watch a VHS. More on that later.
And here's the thing. I don't know if this is true or not, but if you're an executive producer on Patreon, you're in LA, you can just come and you can come sit in the Dog Den and watch a VHS.
I don't know if that's true either, but like
we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. True-ish.
We'll figure it out.
I love it.
We'll make it true, okay?
We'll make it true for
Bottom
whoever wants
line
it.
is everything's happened on Patreon. Everything's happened on Movies, baby. Thank you for your support. And if you're a Patreon subscriber right now, in a mere 10 minutes, we're going to come back for a Weekend at Bergman's, and we got a big one tonight, Joe. A big one on our 1999 series. The
Huge.
theme is ensemble casts. And next week, yes, hold on really quick. We'll do that in a second. Coming up on Weekend at Bergman's is Magnolia versus The Best Man. Magnolia versus The Best Man.
Wow.
I cannot freaking wait.
Wow.
And then next week on Movies, baby, holy shit, look at this weird lineup.
Damn.
We're going to be talking Cannes Film Festival. What's happening? What are the news? What's the scoops? What movies are hitting? Who got the biggest ovation? Who's bombing? And we're also going to be reviewing Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse movie. If the John Krasinski just cynical ploy to get your money movie.
Tough.
Strangers is back. Strangers Chapter 1, one of our favorite horror movies, is back. We're going to watch the sequel and Harmony Korine's new movie, Aggro Drift, which I've heard is just like Harmony Korine does some weird Call of Duty infrared movie for her 90 minutes.
Color and light.
I can't wait. I can't freaking wait.
That's for me, boys.
But if you're on the Patreon, stay tuned. In 10 minutes for Magnolia versus The Best Man. If you're not, it'll be coming your way on the Patreon feed on Monday. Oh boy, what another episode of Movies, baby.
I love it. I love movies. And I want to thank the great and powerful Margot Padilla.
Thank you, Margot.
As always, thank you, Margot. And thank you to everyone at home. And we'll see you next week here on Movies, Baby. 5 Wise.
Bye.